My wife Audrey has been incredible to me. She's tall, slender, with brown blonde hair, and a perfect figure. When we first met, her eyes lit up like a child on Christmas morning. I'm 6'2" and was on the swim team in school, so I have a swimmer's body. Our friends always joked that our constant smiles gave away our feelings for each other. The lovemaking was amazing. For the first 2 years, we met just for that. Everything changed when Audrey made a mistake with Brad, a 6 and 10 inches basketball player. I got bombarded with messages and pictures of her and Brad from a party, where they ended up kissing and disappearing into his room. The next day, I confronted her and she admitted everything. She had gotten drunk and made a stupid mistake, insisting she loved only me and was sorry. Most of our friends said it was a one-time thing and that I should forgive her. After 2 weeks of anger, I did, but I warned her it was her only chance. Looking back, those who told me to forgive her ended up in bad relationships, while those who said to leave her are happily married. I became a programmer, and Audrey got a job as an administrator. We married and had 2 kids, Matt and Marcy. Life was good until Audrey started working in real estate, leading to long hours and less closeness. Remembering her past mistake, I installed monitoring software on her phone and a recorder in her bag. Soon, I discovered she was having lovemaking with a guy named David. Heartbroken, I clung to the fact that their conversations lacked affection. I tried to win her back by cooking her favorite meal, dressing the kids nicely, and showing her more attention. She seemed receptive, and I felt hopeful. I sent her pictures of the kids and expressed my love whenever I saw her messaging David. I was thrilled when she told David she couldn't meet him. On Friday night, I asked my brother and his wife to babysit the kids and took Audrey to a 5-star restaurant for dinner and dancing. That night, we tried to break our record for the most lovemaking in one evening. We didn't, but it was fun trying. The next day, we picked up the kids and spent the whole day at the water park. Life felt good, and I thought things were working out. However, Audrey's text to David on Wednesday morning shattered my heart. "Looking forward to seeing you. I missed you." I realized she was a liar and everything I believed about her was false. I decided not to listen to her excuses or let her deceive me anymore. Audrey had betrayed me and the children, even if she hadn't formally ended things with us. I saw David's face when I activated the camera on Audrey's phone using the monitoring program. He was a colleague of hers whom I had met at her office. Realizing violence wasn't worth it, I decided to remove Audrey from our lives, exploit her double life, and seek primary custody of the children. I would show everyone how she chose her lover over us. The following week, there was a concert by Marcy's group. I moved a reminder on Audrey's phone calendar to the day after the event. When I confirmed she was at her lover's apartment during the concert, I left her a message and pretended she had missed it. Marcy was upset, but I reassured her that adults sometimes get busy with work. Audrey's late arrivals were becoming the norm. When we got home, she smelled freshly showered, despite still being in work clothes. She tried to make amends with Marcy, who eventually forgave her, but insisted she couldn't miss the next concert. I wondered if Audrey was genuinely remorseful, or just afraid of being exposed. I noticed Audrey and her lover meeting at a small restaurant known for its Scotch eggs. I mentioned this to my father-in-law and made a reservation for Wednesday, the day they usually went there. Ensuring Audrey was still in the office, I headed to the restaurant with my in-laws. We arrived a few minutes after her, and I saw Audrey sitting in the back with her lover. "Do you want to sit in a booth or at a table?" I asked loudly. Audrey's head shot up, eyes wide, and she quickly moved away from her lover. He looked puzzled until he saw us and tried to shrink in his seat. As we were seated, Audrey rushed over. "Mom and Dad, what are you doing here?" "We heard about the amazing Scotch eggs and decided to try them." Dad smiled, happy to see Audrey. He leaned in for a hug. "Audrey, they're really great. Why don't you join us?" "My colleague and I are sitting right there." Audrey pointed to a booth where her lover was waving, his face red. The smiles on my in-laws' faces disappeared. "We wouldn't want to disturb your business lunch," my mother-in-law said, staring at the lover. "No problem," Audrey said enthusiastically. "We're just grabbing a quick bite before heading out to show a property." It was a tense lunch. After the lover shook hands with everyone, Audrey did most of the talking. My mother-in-law frowned at her food, and my father-in-law stared at the lover without saying a word. I asked simple questions like, "How long have you worked here?" And "How is a nice guy like you still single?" My favorite was, "Audrey, you should introduce your sister to him. If it works out, we could be related." Audrey's smile was tense. The lover finally said, "No thanks, I have a girlfriend." "Oh, is it someone we know or a secret?" I asked. She's in a bad relationship and trying to get out of it. I don't feel comfortable telling you who it is, he said with a grin. The smirk vanished when he realized everyone was staring at him, especially Audrey. When the food arrived, my in-laws ate quickly. I only took a few bites of my Scotch egg. Audrey noticed and asked, "Is the Scotch egg delicious?" "I've lost my appetite," I replied, staring at her. Audrey's mother waved to the waiter and gave him a $100 bill to pay for everyone. She jumped up, saying she needed to go to the restroom. The waiter returned, and Audrey's father took the change, stared at the lover like he was something smelly, and went to the restroom. Without saying a word, I said to Audrey and her lover, "Sorry to interrupt your business lunch. I'm sure you have plans to discuss and people to deceive." I got up to leave the restaurant. Audrey chased me to my car. "It was nice to see you at lunch. We'll discuss this at home. Your parents will be here in a second." By then, I saw Audrey's parents almost running to the front door, not looking at the lover. Audrey, seeing where I was looking, lowered her gaze and said, "It's probably better this way." My parents came out, hugged Audrey briefly, and got into my car. I walked away from Audrey without saying a word. Neither of us spoke the whole way home. When I dropped my in-laws off, I said goodbye. As usual, Mom hugged me tightly and told me she loved me like the son she never had. Dad hugged me and told me to bring the kids. He missed us all. It saddened me to realize that Audrey was worth lying to her parents. Audrey's parents had already disowned Karen, their younger daughter, due to her infidelity. They immediately interrupted Audrey whenever she mentioned Karen. One Sunday, Karen tried to sneak into her son-in-law's church during a sermon. Her father interrupted the pastor to apologize for having to leave and walked out without acknowledging Karen. Audrey returned home that evening with a story about how a dinner meeting with her lover secured a big deal for both of them. "It's inappropriate to go to dinner alone with an unmarried man. I don't want you near him anymore, and I definitely don't want you to go out to dinner with him again," I told her. "Honey, I'm sorry. If it bothers you, I won't go to lunch with him anymore. Don't worry about him. We made a great deal," Audrey said. I told Audrey I would sleep in the guest room until she properly apologized to me and her parents. "Remember when your sister got caught cheating?" Audrey was clearly alarmed. "You're making a mountain out of a molehill," she said. On the plus side, I now had an excuse not to have lovemaking with her. Then I installed a switch in her car and her lover's car while they were at his apartment. I also sabotaged the transmission sensor to keep mechanics guessing. One day, while I was at Matt's football game, Audrey decided to spend time with her lover. I remotely turned off Audrey's car. "Knock, knock," her lover said. "What happened? Came back so quickly?" she asked. "My car won't start. Let's wait 15 minutes, he replied. "The battery is charged, the headlights work, but it just won't start," she said. "Do you want me to give you a ride home?" he asked. "No, you idiot. If my husband sees you dropping me off, it will be a big problem," Audrey said. "Call a tow truck. I need to pick up Marcy for her band competition." "Why not let her husband drive her?" he asked. "He's with Matt at his football game. You can take my car," she replied. "Debacle at the restaurant?" he asked. "Oh, yes. Okay, take me to the rental car and I'll call a tow truck for my car," she said. "Meet the tow truck driver and pay him $50 to give the address of our business where the car was found." Audrey's phone rang. "Damn. Hello? Have you picked up Marcy yet?" "I'm having car trouble. I think it's the battery," she said. "Do you want me to come to your office and help?" I asked. "No, I already called a tow truck and we'll rent a car nearby so Marcy won't be late," she replied. "Okay, call if you need help," I said, and hung up. Audrey's lover dropped her at the rental car place, but she was late picking up Marcy. Luckily, Marcy called me and I asked a friend to take Matt home. I picked up Marcy for her competition just in time. When Marcy and I got home, Matt was already in his room and Audrey was waiting, still in work clothes but smelling like she just showered. "Marcy, I'm so sorry I had car trouble and couldn't pick you up. I rented a car, but by then Daddy had already picked you up," Audrey said. "It's okay, Mom. I just made it to the competition thanks to Dad. This is the second time you've missed my performances. I hope the work is worth it," Marcy said before going to her room. I confronted Audrey. "I called your work after lunch and they said you left. You had over 2 hours to pick up Marcy. What happened?" Audrey froze for a few seconds and then said, "I was doing some things and thought I had enough time. I didn't expect the car to break down." "What business were you doing? You never mentioned it," I asked. "Just some things that needed to be done," she replied. "Well, I hope those things were more important than your daughter's love because you're on thin ice," I said. then went to sleep in the guest room. It was clear Audrey didn't care about missing our kids' activities. She prioritized her lover over us. The mechanics couldn't find any problems with Audrey's car. Marcy started pushing Audrey's buttons. "Mom, you said you were taking me and my friends to the mall this Saturday. Can you tell me now if you don't want to drive us? We don't want to be stuck there if your car breaks down again." Matt heard this and laughed. "Nice joke, Marcy." The kids felt unappreciated by their mother. Audrey complained to me, asking me to talk to the children about respecting her. "I'll think about it while I wait for your apology in the guest room," I said. She blamed my isolation on my stubbornness. On Saturday, I took Marcy and her friends to the mall. Audrey said she had work to do. Her car was parked at a house for sale. Who was with her when we got home? Marcy thanked me loudly in front of her mother, emphasizing her appreciation. She then called her friend and ignored Audrey's questions. Audrey looked like she wanted to complain, but I started giggling, took my drink, and locked myself in my office. Audrey, still in work clothes, smelled like she had just showered. She likely had lovemaking in a house she was selling. I hope she at least changed the sheets. Matt's birthday was coming up, so we rented 6 lanes at a bowling alley for friends and family. Finding a place without a Wednesday night league took some effort, but I managed. When I told Audrey, she looked uneasy. I said I'd take the kids and their friends while she picked up the cake and candles. We'd eat pizza, open presents, and bowl. The week before, I sabotaged her lover's car 3 times to prevent their meetings. They rescheduled for Tuesday, so I broke his car again. After it was fixed, I saw Audrey's text on Wednesday. "Looking forward to seeing you a little later in the afternoon." Her GPS showed her heading to his apartment. She had time to have fun, get the cake, and come to the party. I rented a car with a big trunk for a special plan. Confirming Audrey was at her lover's apartment, I placed a covered cage at the front door. I used a door ram to smash the door, then activated a taser on the metal cage, releasing an angry skunk into the apartment. I quickly left. Listening through Audrey's phone, I heard screams and her lover telling her to call the police. I blocked her phone. The lover finally called the police, saying a wild animal was in his apartment. The police arrived, guns drawn. The skunk attacked, causing them to scream and vomit before closing the door. It took hours for animal control to capture the skunk. Afterward, 2 smelly police officers questioned Audrey and her lover. 2 more officers arrived, but quickly left due to the smell. "Who's the owner here?" an officer asked. "I am," the lover replied. "Who are you?" the officer asked Audrey. "Just visiting," she replied. "Do you have ID?" the officer asked. "Is this really necessary? I just got attacked by a skunk," Audrey said, showing her ID. "How do you know him?" the officer asked. "We work together," Audrey replied. "What were you doing here?" the officer asked. "Picking up documents," Audrey said. After confirming their identities, the officer asked, "Why was there a skunk in the apartment?" "It was a birthday present," the lover started, but Audrey interrupted. "Did you buy an adult skunk for your boyfriend?" the officer asked. "He's not my boyfriend," Audrey said. "Stop lying. Why did you buy an adult skunk as a present?" the officer pressed. "I didn't. I bought a young skunk. He told me he loves skunks, so I surprised him. But it turned out to be an adult, and it attacked him," Audrey said. "The skunk must have been expensive," the officer said. "Not too much," Audrey said. "Do you buy expensive pets for all your coworkers or just your boyfriend?" the officer asked. Audrey didn't answer. "What about the broken door?" the officer asked. "I broke it yesterday and didn't have time to fix it," the lover said. The officer must have stared at them for a minute before saying, "I know this is all a lie, but I can't stand this smell anymore. You and your boyfriend can leave because you both smell worse than us. I'm not contaminating my car with that stench." With that, they left, slamming the broken door loudly. "What the hell was that?" the lover asked. Audrey, always sharp, replied, "We couldn't tell them someone broke down your door and released a skunk in your apartment." "Why not?" he asked. "Because then they would ask my husband if he did it. He already knows. If not, they would tell him I was here," Audrey said sweetly. "Be honest, how many other women do you see?" "No one," the lover replied indignantly. "When was the last time you slept with another woman besides me?" Audrey asked. "About a month ago," he muttered. "You've been sleeping with her this whole time?" Audrey asked. "There was another one 6 months ago," he said quietly. "Did their husbands find out?" Audrey asked. "Why do you think they were married?" he asked. "Because I know what turns you on. Now answer," Audrey said. "Yes, both," he replied. "Did they know it was you?" Audrey asked. "Not sure," he replied. Great. Now I'm sure lying to the police was the right choice. This is likely revenge from one of their husbands. I'll find out if my husband did it, Audrey said. Audrey's phone rang. Hey, Audrey, have you picked up the cake yet? I asked. Damn, I'm stuck at work. Leaving now, she replied. Don't let Matt down, I said. I'm on my way, she replied, and hung up. Audrey showered, dressed, and left. I stopped her car halfway to the store. After the fourth attempt, it started. It broke down 3 more times, but she finally made it. She arrived late at the bowling alley. When Audrey walked in with the cake, we all covered our noses and coughed. Matt asked his mom to just go home after the party. On the way home, Matt asked, "Why does Mom always miss our events?" She tries to do what's best for the family, but sometimes it's hard to be in 2 places at once, I replied. But you're always there for us and make more money, Matt said. I have a more flexible schedule, so it's easier for me to be with my favorite skunks, I said. It's not funny, Dad, Marcy said. It'll be funny when you tell your friends at school tomorrow, I replied. We had to throw away the smelly cake, which the kids found funny. I was glad to sleep in the guest room that night. A few days later, I saw Audrey sniffing the upholstery in my car. She looked like a mouse searching for cheese. I followed her upstairs and recorded her sniffing my shoes. I never asked why her car didn't smell like a skunk. 2 Saturdays later, I told everyone I needed to go to the hardware store. No one wanted to come, so I went alone to the lover's apartment. His car was there. I knocked on his door. How can I help? He asked. Actually, I think we can help each other. I'm Audrey's husband. Can I come in? I asked. His face paled as I pushed past him and sat at the kitchen table. I invited him to sit with me. The place smelled like fresh paint and skunk, with all new furniture. I know you've been with my wife Audrey for over 6 months, I said. Hey man, we're just friends, he replied. Would it help if I showed you photos and videos of your get-togethers? I asked. I don't know what you're talking about, he replied. No nonsense. I know you're sleeping with my wife and I have proof. I don't care about you. I care about what my wife does. So instead of hiring a detective to get dirt on her, I offer to pay you for it, I said. You want me to make a video of me having lovemaking with your wife? That'll cost $2,000, he said. He stared at me for a minute, considering the offer. $2,000 for a video of me with your wife? Are you serious? He asked. Yes, I'm serious. $2,000 for a video showing her face and body during lovemaking. I also need written consent from you that you took the video and allowed me to use it, I replied. If you have so much evidence, why do you need a video? He asked. I need more leverage for the divorce, I said. That would be really cruel, he said. Like how she betrays me and her children? I asked. He paused, then whispered, yes, like that. $2,000, and I won't tell the other husbands about their wives. I'll even pay for a spa day for you and Audrey at a hotel, I offered. He looked at me carefully. Make it $3,000 and we have a deal, he said. Great, don't tell Audrey. I'll arrange and pay for the spa and hotel. The Monday after, I'll call to set up a time to get the video and pay you in cash. All clear? Yes, he replied. Make sure her face is visible in the footage. I'll send the consent form today and call you Monday, I said, then left and continued my shopping. On Wednesday evening, I told Audrey, I have a conference this Saturday. Is that a problem? No, it looks like it will be a relaxing weekend. Have fun, she replied. On Monday night, I called her lover and picked him up. I didn't want to be recorded. I took him to a quiet rest stop, checked him for any recording devices, then let him back into the car. Do you have what I need? I asked. Yes, he replied, handing me a flash drive. I checked it on my laptop. This is exactly what I needed. Do you have the consent form? He handed me an envelope, which I verified. I took a photo and sent it to myself. I then handed him an envelope of cash. He counted the $100 bills twice, smiling. If you need another video, let me know. Easiest money I ever made, he said. On Tuesday, I told my brother and his wife what was going on, showing them a short video, photos, and a list of Audrey's dates, highlighting missed family events. I did the same for Audrey's parents and my parents, asking everyone to ignore Audrey until I gave the okay. On Wednesday, while Audrey was with her lover, I explained to the kids what was happening. Mom is infatuated with another man, and I'm not sure if she still loves me, I said. They asked if we would get a divorce. I said we would discuss it with their mother. She's at her boyfriend's house today. They both shouted, Is she there now? Yes, I replied, showing them the GPS tracker on her car outside his apartment. Marcy asked, Is this why Mom misses our events? I showed them the dated list with missed events highlighted. I also showed a time-lapse tracker of Audrey's whereabouts on Marcy's concert and Matt's birthday. They cried when they saw what time she left the office and her lover's apartment on Matt's birthday. "Damn that skunk," Marcy said. I told them, "The most important thing is that I love you both. This is a problem between your mother and me, and we will do everything we can to remain a family." After half an hour of crying, hugging, and talking, Audrey walked in. Seeing our expressions, she looked worried. "What happened?" she asked. "Children, go to your rooms while Mom and I talk," I said. They hugged me, gave Audrey a hostile look, and went to their rooms. When the doors closed, I asked Audrey to sit. "What's happening?" she asked, trying to stay calm. "Audrey, I know you're having an affair." "Oh God, no. That's not true. I would never cheat on you. Why would you say that?" she said, tearing up. "If you won't tell me the truth, this conversation is over," I said firmly. "This must be a mistake. Someone thought they saw something that wasn't true," she replied, trying to sound convincing. "Okay, we're done for today. Think about what you're doing to this family. We'll discuss this tomorrow. Until then, don't talk to me or the kids," I said, heading to the guest room. Audrey followed me, insisting, "You are wrong. I would never do that." I closed the door in her face and she fell silent. I heard her talking quietly through Marcy's door, pleading, "Marcy, what did Daddy tell you? It's all a mistake. Please open the door so we can talk." Marcy texted me and Matt, "Can you make her go away?" "I'll try, but she just denied the affair, so there's no point if she's lying," I replied. "Perhaps you're mistaken," Marcy wrote back. "I have pictures of them unclothed together," I replied. "Oh," was all Marcy texted. I opened the door, and Audrey looked at me, her eyes pleading. "Please leave the children alone until we resolve this. You're making it harder for them," I said. "But I want to know what you told them," Audrey insisted. "I told them the truth. You have another man. This is between us until we sort it out. Leave the kids alone," I said. Audrey went to her bedroom, crying all night. The next day, I was at the kitchen table waiting for Audrey when she came home. The children were with friends. "Audrey, please sit down," Audrey sat. "Have you thought about what you're doing to your family?" I asked. She nodded. "Are you ready to talk honestly about your affair?" I asked. She nodded again. "So what do you have to say? It's all a misunderstanding?" I asked. "Yes, I had an emotional connection. We had lunch several times, but that's all. I love only you," Audrey said. "If you lie, this conversation is over. We'll talk Saturday at 9. The children will stay with my parents. Think about what you're doing to this family," I said, leaving for the guest room. On Saturday morning, I had breakfast with the kids at Audrey's parents' house. When I returned, Audrey was at the kitchen table. "Are you ready to talk honestly?" I asked. She nodded. "Did you tell my parents?" I asked. "Yes." "Have you told your parents, your brother and his wife?" I asked. "Yes. How could you do this to me?" Audrey asked, her voice quivering. "You lied to me, the children, and our parents. You kissed him a couple of times? That's all? Now you've turned our parents and children against me," Audrey said. "Since you still refuse to be honest, this conversation is over. The children will stay with their grandparents. I'll live in the guest room and work from home. We'll talk on Tuesday after work. Think about what you're doing to this family," I said, leaving the house. That night, I returned from dinner with my parents and children. Audrey was in the living room. "We'll talk on Tuesday," I said, and went to bed. Audrey's friends texted asking me to forgive her, calling it an innocent mistake. I made a video call and showed them evidence of the affair. They quickly apologized and hung up. I don't think Audrey heard from them again. On Tuesday evening, Audrey came home exhausted. She brought pasta from our favorite Italian restaurant and prepared a plate for me. "The days when you wonder what lies to tell your friends and family so they don't find out what a terrible person you are takes their toll," I said. "Nobody talks to me. They think I'm a monster," Audrey said. "Lies have consequences. You showed everyone there's a monster inside you," I replied. "They said you showed them photos and videos of me with my lover," Audrey said. "Yes, I showed them. No one will show me this photo. Can I see it?" Audrey asked. "Yes, if it helps. I didn't let other copies get out. I don't want our family ridiculed," I said. Audrey looked at the photo and video. "I love you so much. Can't we forget this mistake?" she asked. "How strong was your love for me that you had to be with someone else?" I asked. "I never loved him. Marriage is about shared responsibilities, trust, and fun. I was 100% responsible, trusted, and had fun with you. But you left most of the financial and family responsibilities and all the trust on me while you partied," I said. You stole my love by giving yours to someone else." "How long have you known?" Audrey asked quietly. 7 months, I replied. "Why did you wait so long?" she asked. "I hoped it was a one-time mistake and you'd admit it, because you always say you love me," I said. "I'm sorry," Audrey said. "How can I trust you now?" I asked. "Because I love you, and I'm telling the truth," she replied. "Is this the same truth you told me in our last 3 talks where you denied the affair?" I asked. After a few minutes of silence, I asked, "Audrey, what can I do to make things better?" I placed an envelope on the desk in front of her. "This is a post-nuptial agreement. Sign it, and I'll consider taking you back. We'll need therapy for us and the kids to make it work." "I don't want to sign a post-nuptial agreement," Audrey replied. "Then we're done. It seems you just want to come out of this marriage better off financially," I said. "What will I get if I sign it?" Audrey asked. "If one of us files for divorce, I get 70% of everything. If I cheat, it's 50-50. If you cheat, I get 85%. In all scenarios, I get full custody. Have a lawyer look at it and sign it. I need to know you're willing to sacrifice financially." "How much time do I have?" she asked. "Until Saturday morning," I said, standing up. "Aren't you going to eat? I ordered your favorite food," Audrey said. "After everything you've done and all the lies, should I expect the arsenic sauce to be fresh?" I asked. She started crying. Later, Audrey signed the agreement to regain some trust. The next day, I went to Audrey's office. While she was out, I met with the office manager, an elderly lady whose husband owned the company. "How can I help you today?" she asked angrily. "I think there's a misunderstanding about me being the bad guy with my wife," I said. "This seems personal. Please leave or I'll call the police," she said. "It's about my wife and a coworker she's having lovemaking with," I said. "Do you have any evidence?" she asked. "Yes, here's a photo and voice recordings of them admitting they had lovemaking instead of showing properties," I said, playing short clips. She was unhappy. "Can I assume my wife will be fired immediately?" I asked. "Yes, along with her lover," she replied. "You can't fire her lover. I had permission to record my wife, not him. This can't be shown in court, and I don't want to be accused of libel." "I doubt you do either," I said. "Thanks for the info," she said, relieved. "Can I leave a photo?" I asked. "No, I don't want this passed around," she replied. Audrey came home that evening in tears. She lost her job and received no references. She wanted to talk, but I only said Saturday and went to my room. On Saturday morning, Audrey was at the kitchen table. "You should have quit immediately to avoid contact with your lover. Since your moral compass is broken, we should have discussed this first," I said. "Sorry, we no longer discuss decisions that negatively impact our marriage or children. By the way, have you signed the post-nuptial agreement?" I asked. "Yes," she said, handing me the envelope. I checked it, sent an electronic copy to my lawyer, and put the physical copy in a safe. Then I announced the new house rules. "Good behavior from you, and we'll start counseling. I'll tell the family we're trying to fix our marriage." I knew it wouldn't last. I didn't even schedule counseling. Audrey was the perfect housewife, but she installed a hidden camera in my office. I watched her do it on my laptop in my car. On Saturday morning, I came to the kitchen where Audrey was drinking coffee, looking smug. We exchanged pleasantries. I took my coffee and sat opposite her. "Where are the children?" I asked. "I took them to my parents," she replied. "Why?" I asked. "We haven't had lovemaking in a month, and I hope to change your mind this morning," she said. "Actually, it's been 8 months," I replied. 8 months? That can't be right," Audrey insisted. "It is. Maybe you've lost track because of your cheating, but I'm sure," I said. "Well, we could change that," she said, smiling and starting to get up. "Audrey, I can't forget what you did or erase those images. It won't happen," I said, motioning for her to sit down. "Fine, be stubborn. I did everything you asked, and you still treat me like a leper. I want more respect," Audrey said. "Is this how you want to handle it?" I asked. "Yes. I deleted all your copies of the videos. I even deleted the ones in the cloud and destroyed the flash drive. I'm tired of being an outcast. I'll stay with my sister until you treat me with respect. I'll pick up the kids from school every day, and we'll have dinner at my new place without you," she said, walking to the front door. Her sister came out of the dining room, and they left together. For 2 months, Audrey worked on her parents and children, claiming I never had any records, and photos were photoshopped. She asked me to show proof, but she had deleted everything. The children were confused, and her parents wanted to believe her. Even my parents had doubts. My brother and his wife supported me completely. I felt isolated. I met her lover to arrange another video. This time I went all out. A hotel room on the beach in Florida, 2 first-class tickets, and $5,000 for the video. I insisted it be recorded on the balcony. The lover asked for more money for an expensive restaurant. Audrey and Karen were excited, so I bought another first-class ticket for Karen. 2 weeks later, I watched the new video with the lover in my car. Everything was as I asked. I encrypted the video, uploaded it to the cloud, and encrypted the flash drive. The lover asked for his money, but I had questions. "Did you approach my wife first?" I asked. "Not really. It just happened," he replied. "Who mentioned the lovemaking first?" I asked. "She did," he replied. As we drove back, I asked, "How many women have you seduced in town?" "7," he replied, listing them. All were married. I turned off the recorder in my pocket. "Want to see something crazy?" I asked, accelerating to 70 miles per hour. "Hey man, what are you doing?" he said. "Sorry, this is the crazy part," I said, steering into the trees and braking sharply. We hit a tree at less than 40 miles per hour. Both of us were hurt, but alive. I called the police to report the accident. They confiscated my laptop and flash drive as evidence. After being examined at the hospital, I went home and was sick for a week. Audrey found out about my accident when she learned of her lover's end of life. She called, trying to get information, but I acted clueless. The next day, the police questioned me about the connection between the deceased and my wife. I admitted knowing about the affair and explained that I gave him money to stay away from her, but he demanded more, leading to the accident. "So you think I deliberately crashed the car to eliminate him?" I asked. The police left soon after. I had the opportunity and motive, but who risked their life to eliminate someone by crashing a car into a tree? A few days later, Audrey called, wanting to discuss our marriage on neutral ground, with her sister present for safety. "The house is out. I don't want this conversation recorded. Let's meet at a hotel," Audrey said. I agreed, but insisted on choosing the room number. She argued about safety, but I didn't want the conversation recorded either. We agreed to meet at a hotel. On Saturday, I followed Audrey and Karen to a hotel. The receptionist offered us room 216, but I requested a higher room overlooking the front. Audrey and Karen were clearly disappointed. They'd probably have to pay again to retrieve their recording equipment from room 216. In the elevator, Karen flirted with me, pressing against my side. I told her the discussion was between me and Audrey. Karen, who usually stayed away from me on Audrey's insistence, seemed different now. The hotel room was standard with an office desk, chair, chest of drawers, and a queen-size bed. "What now?" Audrey asked. "Take off your clothes, completely unclothed." "I don't trust you, and you don't trust me," I said. Audrey looked at Karen. "That's my sister. I don't want you to see her unclothed." "Come on, she doesn't have anything most people in this town haven't seen," I said. Karen stuck her tongue out at me, revealing a piercing. "Okay," Audrey agreed too easily. "Get completely unclothed." It worked. I knew her goal. I came prepared. Audrey and Karen began undressing. I quickly undressed and folded my clothes on the desk, placing a pen behind them. The pen matched the hotel pen exactly, but had a hidden camera. When Audrey suggested the hotel, I visited every hotel and motel to get a free pen. I hollowed out a pen to fit the camera, making it heavier than a normal pen. I placed my clothes in the bathroom, keeping an eye on Audrey and Karen undressing. Then I walked back unclothed to the table and sat down. Audrey and Karen were on the bed, their clothes beside them. "Now that we're all here, let's get started," I said, trying to ignore Karen's attractive body. "Audrey, I want a serious conversation. In a few minutes, we'll know what this is really about," Audrey said sweetly. "I love you, darling." I replied, "Yes, like your favorite pair of shoes." "You know that's not true. I really love you," Audrey insisted. "Sure, as long as your credit card works," I retorted. Audrey's voice rose. "Don't be so sullen. Our marriage is strong enough to handle this." "Strong? You used all our strength to repeatedly stab me in the back and now want me to turn my back on you again?" I shot back. "Don't be so melodramatic. It was a mistake," Audrey said defensively. "A mistake that will end in divorce," I declared. "Darling, don't be like that. It was just a little mistake," Audrey pleaded. "It wasn't small. It was a calculated betrayal," I countered. In a falsetto, I mimicked, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would hurt you." "Honey, I'm sorry I lied. I was ashamed. I stopped lying when you confronted me," Audrey apologized. "Oh, you mean when you first denied it? Or when you called it an emotional connection? Or the third time when you admitted to just kissing him? You only stopped lying when you saw the photos." But that won't stop you from lying about other things, will it? I challenged. Karen, noticing Audrey's reaction, said, "We don't want anyone to say something they'll regret." "Going too far? Are you kidding? How many boyfriends and husbands have you deceived, Karen? How many married men have you seduced?" I accused. Audrey quietly said, "I'm so sorry for what I did." "Feeling guilty isn't enough. My job is to help you feel it properly," I stated coldly. Audrey pitifully said, "It's not that bad. What's the difference between you and a con artist? You gained my trust to deceive me," I said. "I didn't deceive you. Marriage is a contract of fidelity and trust. You broke it," Audrey argued. "I kept my end. It was you who betrayed me," I countered. "You forced me to sign that postnuptial agreement." "That was unfair," Audrey complained. "Unfair? If I get a traffic ticket, I pay the fine. If I cheat on taxes, they take my money. If I drink too much, I go to jail. Cheaters should face consequences. Marriage is about raising a family and being faithful. Otherwise, what's the point?" I explained. Audrey was speechless. "Do you know how many marriages that start with infidelity last more than a few years? 5%? Was it your plan to divorce me and marry your lover? We'll never know, right?" "He's dead," I said, striking a nerve. Audrey's face twisted with anger. "I deleted all your evidence. You can't control me anymore. Our parents and children don't know who to believe. Was it worth it?" she spat. "I didn't destroy this marriage. You did. I'm just stating the time of end of life," I responded. Audrey angrily said, "Maybe I wouldn't have slept with someone else if you paid more attention to me." "Why should I? You didn't pay any attention to me," I replied. We sat in silence for a moment, calming down. "Did you eliminate him?" Audrey asked suddenly. I smiled at the camera hidden in the pen and said, "It was an accident." "How could you do such a thing?" Audrey tried to provoke an emotional response, but I stayed silent. Audrey's eyes filled with tears. "He was a good guy." Allowing some anger to seep into my voice, I said, "Oh, you mean those guys who seduce other people's wives?" Audrey, in tears, said, "But you still love me, I know that." Correction, I loved you. True love is a privilege most people never experience, even in marriage. You had that from me, but all I got was your desire for a husband, money, and fidelity. You threw away real love for vulgar passion. Millions will desire you for passion, but no one will love you like I did after what you did to your family and me, I said with finality. Tears streamed down Audrey's face. She quickly recovered and continued her plan, saying, "I need a drink. Anyone else? I'll go to the bar and be back to talk like adults." Audrey got dressed and left. As soon as the door closed, Karen said, "You look delicious." "Karen, now is not the time." Karen stood between my legs. "Karen, your sister will be back soon. What she doesn't know won't hurt her." I was trying to stop Karen when she suddenly pulled me onto the bed, screaming, "Please stop!" Audrey burst in, phone in hand. "What are you doing to my sister?" Karen cried. "He attacked me. Make him stop." Audrey pushed me, smiling, and dropped the phone. She picked it up, pressed the end button, and likely sent the video to the cloud. "Now you're in trouble. I have a video of you attacking her." They both laughed. I sat back in my chair looking dejected. Audrey, wagging her finger, said, "Here's how the divorce will work. No more postnuptial agreement. If you mention it, I'll send you to jail. You get 10%, I get 90%, full custody and support for life. If you don't agree, this video will send you to jail." "Yes," I replied, realizing I had underestimated Audrey. This was her main plan. Karen got dressed quickly. "Come on, Audrey." 10 minutes ago, Audrey was crying over lost love. Now she was leaving with her sister, both laughing at me. I watched from the window until they left. Then I got dressed, took my pen, and left the hotel. The meeting went better than expected. The next day, Audrey was served with divorce papers, enforcing the postnuptial agreement. When she threatened me with her recording, I said, "You didn't delete everything. If you blame me, I'll be free the next day and you'll be in jail." Audrey was smart enough to wait. We both hired lawyers. I demanded the postnuptial agreement be honored. I provided transcripts of all my recordings. My lawyer told her we were restoring deleted records and only had transcripts for now. After much negotiation, we set a court date. The question was whether the postnuptial agreement was applicable and if I had actual records. A few days before the trial, I sent forged letters to Audrey and Karen from the CDC, stating her lover had AIDS and they should get tested immediately. They were told not to have lovemaking for 12 months until it was confirmed they were clear. On the trial day, the judge was displeased with both of us. Audrey claimed the postnuptial agreement was signed under duress and she never committed infidelity. She cried convincingly. I argued the postnuptial agreement was created because she was an adulteress, signed under divorce pressure. She violated the marriage agreement and was an unfit mother, making the agreement fair. Judge, what evidence do you have that she committed infidelity? My lawyer asked, presenting video and voice recordings to support the transcripts. The judge inquired, "Why are you producing these now?" We obtained the recordings after a long process. Audrey deleted the original transcripts. Recovering data using a certified process is time-consuming. We just got the evidence here, my lawyer explained. The judge directed the next question to me. Did Audrey delete the posts? Yes, Your Honor. We have a recording of her confessing. I convinced Audrey I had strict control over the videos. She thought she deleted everything, but I saved them in multiple places. Judges don't like evidence tampering. Audrey lied about never cheating and said I had no proof, I answered. I understand, the judge acknowledged. The judge then turned to Audrey's lawyer. Do the transcripts match the recordings? Yes, Your Honor, Audrey's lawyer confirmed. Do you challenge the recording's authenticity? The judge asked. Audrey's lawyer looked at her and she shook her head slightly. No, Your Honor, he responded. This answers the validity question and nullifies compulsion claims. But none of this proves infidelity after signing the contract, the judge noted. My lawyer intervened. Yes, Your Honor. Here is the transcript of the final video and the video itself, proving Audrey's infidelity after signing the agreement. The judge asked, why now? This evidence was in police custody as part of an accidental end-of-life investigation. We weren't sure it still existed, my lawyer clarified. Turning to Audrey's lawyer again, the judge asked, have you seen the video? Yes, but we believe it's inappropriate because there's no consent form, and if allowed, there's no evidence it wasn't recorded before the agreement, Audrey's lawyer argued. My client paid for the plane tickets for Audrey, Karen, and her lover, and the hotel room they used, my lawyer stated. The judge asked me directly, did you consent to your wife's affair? No, I never agreed or condoned her activities, I replied. Then why pay for their tickets and hotel? The judge pressed. I asked her lover how much he needed to stop dating my wife. He said $2,000, tickets to Jamaica, and a 3-night stay at a 5-star hotel. We agreed, and I bought ticket vouchers. He used the air show and hotel vouchers in Florida the following week while my wife was at a conference, I explained. How do we know this is the right hotel? The judge queried. In the first photo, you can see the hotel sign in the background, I pointed out. How did you get this video? The judge continued. I paid for it. When I found out about my wife's affairs, I asked him for proof. He provided visual evidence, I answered. Why collect this evidence? The judge asked. For divorce, I replied. Did he know why you were collecting this information? The judge asked again. Yes. Several months ago, I explained it was easier and cheaper to get testimony from him rather than a private investigator. I paid him $500 for another video, I clarified. Audrey broke the post-nuptial agreement. If you need someone to testify about the video's authenticity and date, my wife's sister is right there, I said, pointing at Karen. Everyone turned to look at her, and the judge reprimanded me for using obscene language. I apologized immediately. The judge asked, is that all you got from your wife's lover that night? Looking at Audrey, I said yes, but he provided most of the records you have today. He's been doing this for months, including hotel and airfare. I paid him about $3,000. Audrey looked furious. My testimony made her realize her lover had been recording their encounters to sell to me for the divorce. For a mere $3,000, Audrey would have paid 10 times more to keep the video hidden. Though angry, I could see Audrey calculating. She believed this was all he had. If he had more, he would have produced it already. When I finished, I saw Audrey make a hasty decision. Audrey whispered to her lawyer, who then requested a break as we neared lunch. The judge allowed it. When we returned, Audrey's lawyer claimed they had a video showing me committing a crime and infidelity, which violated the postnup. Both Audrey and Karen were willing to attest to its authenticity. Audrey confirmed, my sister and I didn't want to put the father of my children in jail, but now I see how manipulative he is. The video showed the hotel door, someone screaming, please stop, and Audrey bursting in, showing me on top of Karen. Audrey screamed, what are you doing to my sister? And Karen cried, he attacked me. Audrey then grabbed her sister, her phone fell, and the video ended. What happened next? The judge asked. I locked myself in the bathroom and told my husband if he didn't leave in 2 minutes, I'd call the police. I also told him I uploaded the video to the cloud, Audrey replied. Yes, the judge said. I was in trouble. I saw Audrey's parents looking at me suspiciously. The judge turned to me. What do you say in your defense? My lawyer responded, We have a video to refute it. Let's see it. Audrey's lawyer tried to discredit the video. Judge, you can present your surprise video, but we can't see their rebuttal video? The judge grinned, and Audrey's lawyer sat down. Audrey looked pale. The video started with us discussing stripping to avoid recording devices, and ended with Audrey and Karen leaving the room laughing. The judge looked at me with a sad understanding, hinting he too had suffered infidelity. Audrey whispered to her lawyer, who shook his head, "No." My lawyer confirmed that none of my statements in the video were self-incriminating. Audrey's lawyer acknowledged this on video, which must have frustrated Audrey. Her initial goal was to sweetly convince me to forgive her. Her secondary goal was to trick me into incriminating myself about her lover's end of life. The fake attack on Karen was backfiring. Karen tried to sneak away, but when the video showed her pulling me onto the bed, the bailiff sat her back down. Audrey was truly ashamed. Her parents sighed behind her. Relatives left the court before the video ended. Audrey knew she'd lost their support. The judge ruled in favor of the postnup. My lawyer then revealed Audrey's secret bank account, which had more than our combined assets. She had been depositing extra paychecks and bonuses into it for years, and had taken out a second mortgage on our house. I asked my lawyer not to tell the judge or Audrey about this. My lawyer presented my bank account balance to the judge, showing that Audrey had transferred our mortgage funds to her secret account, suggesting she planned to run. This mistake led to the discovery of Audrey's secret account. The second mortgage transfer was actually done by me using Audrey's login. I discovered her account the day I installed the monitoring program. Hidden funds not disclosed during divorce proceedings are subject to specific laws. The judge awarded me 100% of the asset and required Audrey to pay all attorney's fees and court costs. Due to her greed, she transferred all our property to her secret account, so I didn't have to pay her half the house value. The judge also sentenced Audrey and Karen to 90 days in jail for perjury. I received 95% of the property, full custody of the children, the house, 2 of our 3 best cars, and several years of alimony. Audrey got only 5%, which didn't even cover her legal fees. She kept her clothes, car, and jewelry, but I had already sold her expensive jewelry after discovering her affair. She never noticed because I stopped taking her out. I used the jewelry money and accident insurance to buy my dream car. Audrey struggled to stay close to the children and had to commute an hour for work. They never forgave her and were ashamed to be seen with her. Both she and Karen ended up working as bar waitresses. I also sent the lover's last words to 6 husbands of 7 wives. Drunken messages from Audrey occasionally appear on my phone. Sometimes she wishes I was dead and blames me for her ruined life, while other times she cries, begs for forgiveness, and hopes we can be together again. I save every message and video in case she tries to return to our children's lives. Audrey never truly loved me as I loved her. She measured life by what she could take, not give. I have a restraining order against her and her sister, as they may still harbor animosity toward me.